Hello, this is Joel from Full Freedom Life channel, and I'm starting this new YouTube channel to introduce and inspire as well as educate people who've been through a lot of challenges in their health, yet or are going through their health challenges, and their aim is to be free from these health challenges and be healthy, wealthy, happy every single day. At least that's what my journey is about. Just to introduce myself and my life story, I was born 56 years ago, and I was born in the Philippines. And when I was about 1 year old, I was an infant, I had kidney infection. I almost died from it, and I was lucky enough to be the son of a rural health doctor. My papa was a medical doctor back in our town of Tabang, Leyte. This was back in 1967, 1968. And then what happened was, my mom noticed that my urine was dark brown, frothy, and as well as foul smelling. So I almost died from that infection. Luckily, my mom reported my condition to my dad, my papa, and what happened was I was brought to the hospital, and thus saving my life. So from then on, I lived and had other medical challenges related to my kidney. I was diagnosed with what was called IGA Nephropathy, which is an autoimmune disease that was where the condition is also called Buerger's disease, Buerger's disease. Dr. Buerger, I think he's German, was the first one to discover this kidney disease, an autoimmune disease where my antigens and antibodies called IGA attack my own kidney and treat it as an alien organ, as if it's not my own. So slowly and progressively, for the next 51 years, I had progressive kidney disease, also known as CKD, chronic kidney disease. Now, I almost died again back in 2015, where my kidney failed, and I had to be brought to the emergency room, and I barely survived that experience because my blood hemoglobin level was at 5.5. Had my friends Laura and Mike waited another maybe half hour before they took me to the hospital, to the emergency room, I would have died, because at 5.0 blood hemoglobin level, I would have been dead. So I was spared from death. And then the following year, I went through another ordeal. So that was my second brush with death, and I escaped it, luckily and fortunately. And the reason for that for me saving it is because another doctor, my doctor, my family doctor was his name is Dr. Escalante. I was invited to church by my friends Laura and Mike, and luckily I sat beside Dr. Escalante, my primary doctor. That was on March 29th of 2015, I believe. Yes. And Dr. Escalante noticed that while in church, I was doing this. I was like falling asleep during the sermon. So he took me after the Mass. We had some Chinese buffet, and then he took me straight to his clinic. This was in San Antonio, Texas, and he checked my urine, my stool, and wrote a letter in his own handwriting to the emergency room to take me in as soon as possible because of my kidney failing. So I went from stage 1, chronic kidney disease. Actually, it wasn't chronic at the time, it was acute, when I was like 1 year old, and it progressively gotten worse. So by the time I was 35, I was diagnosed with stage 3 chronic kidney disease, and then by the time I was 40, I got diagnosed with stage 4, and then finally at age 40, this was 2015, 48, just 2 days after my 48th birthday, I almost died again from kidney failure because of my kidney function that remained at that time was only 11%. Now, if your kidney function, both of your kidneys, is below 15%, it's called GFR, glomerular filtration rate, meaning the amount of kidney function left is 15 or less. That's considered kidney failure, and you can only survive through dialysis. So I went to dialysis for about 3.5 years, and then I did a campaign, a whole year-long campaign, to find myself a living kidney donor. And the reason why I was looking for a living kidney donor is because of a few things. Number one, if I had a living kidney donor, I would have survived twice the amount of time versus having a cadaver donor's kidney, meaning a dead person's kidney. So typically, if you get a deceased kidney donor's kidney, it lasts only about 10 years plus or minus a few years. Again, depending on how you take care of your body and your health overall. Now, I was looking for a living kidney donor and did a campaign on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, social media basically. And the reason for me looking for a living kidney donor is because I could live twice as long. The average length of time of a recipient of a living kidney donor's kidney is approximately 20 years plus or minus a few years. And again, it's also dependent on your lifestyle, meaning your stress control, stress management, your diet and nutrition, your activity level, meaning if you exercise regularly or not, and also mindset. Okay. Luckily, an altruistic kidney donor by the name of Chris Pesciado from San Antonio, where I was living at the time, volunteered to offer me his kidney. So that's what happened. So I got transplanted, or we got transplanted on July 10th, 2018. So today is March 22nd, 2023. So it'll be 5 years this coming July 10th, 2023. And I thank God every single day. I thank Chris and the Methodist hospital every single day for the gift of life. So now, after a year of observation and, what do you call this, GFR or kidney function testing, and taking transplant medications regularly, twice a day, because I'm stuck with getting kidney transplant medications for life. So there was no rejection. There was really no major issue after my surgery. There was one little incident where I basically bled through my peritoneal cavity, but eventually that was fixed, and I went back to work as a physical therapist, home health physical therapist, within like 3 months, and went full-time within, this was part-time, back in October of 2018, and by the time December 2018 rolled in, 6 months after a transplant, I was basically working full-time, and my color, my skin tone, my endurance, my stamina has improved. And that's why I'm sharing all this in my journey as a living kidney transplant recipient, because I want to basically help those who've been through a lot of struggles with their health, that it's possible. I was really literally near death, almost died 3 times really, because the year after my kidney dialysis started back in 2015, so a year later, I was unfortunately injected in my peritoneal cavity, my abdominal cavity, the medication I was allergic to. So I basically went to coma for about a day and a half by myself in my house in San Antonio. And luckily I woke up and was able to recover from that incident. So now I'm sharing how I went through that. So I'll be sharing in future videos how I was able to find me a kidney donor, how I extended my lifespan even before the transplant, what I did to my mindset, to my diet, to my activity level, and all that. So I'll be sharing all that. Now, most importantly, the goal of my Full Freedom Life channel is to inspire a lot of people that, every day above ground is a great day, and there's always something you look forward to. Okay, you overcome this challenge. Like I almost died 3 times, but I was able to surmount basically thrive despite all the challenges I had to go through. So what are the things I did, and what are the things I'm doing or I'll be doing in the future? So one main thing that I really drastically changed was my lifestyle, because I've always dreamed about traveling the world. Okay, that's always been my dream. When I started in America 36 years ago as a physical therapist, I started as a traveling physical therapist for about 6 years, first 6 years, from 88 to 94, and I had my own practice in Virginia Beach, and then I left for Texas, got married there, had 2 beautiful kids, Anton and Simone, and then got divorced, and then had to go through my challenge of being on dialysis for 3.5 years, and then finally getting my transplant. And just recently I lived one dream that I always wanted, and that is to tour my home country, the Philippines, for 2 months straight. No work, no worries, just living my full freedom life of living simply, healthy, wealthy, and happy every single day. In fact, last year I tested this dream, if it's possible. In the midst of COVID, I was able to travel to the Philippines, stay there for a month, was able to help my mom recover from pneumonia, and given her therapy, given her caretakers the instructions and the guide and the process of rehabilitating her. And that was for a month, and I celebrated my 50th birthday. So when the MC and the caterer asked me how old I was, I answered, I'm 55 chronologically, but I feel like I'm forever 25 biologically, and that's how I feel. Since I started this new lifestyle of being a traveling physical therapist about 1.5 years ago, in July of 2021, I've started hiking not just hills but mountains. Like, we're talking 10,000 feet above sea level. In fact, just recently I went on a quest of island hopping in the Philippines, and I was able to climb up at least 5 or 6 waterfalls, where I climb up to the top. And again, I'm going to be sharing all this throughout the next months and, of course, years, as I'm committed to doing this channel of full freedom life, how to live a full freedom life of living simply, healthy, wealthy, and happy. Now, as you can see, you got, behind me are my stuff. Ever since 2016, a year after I started my dialysis, I learned about minimalism. So I'm really a minimalist. I've achieved my goal last year, 1.5 years early, of being debt-free, diabetes-free, dialysis-free, drama-free, and I think that's it. So I wanted to be, by December 31st, 2023, which is upcoming in about 8 more months, my goal was to become debt-free, drama-free, diabetes-free, and dialysis-free. I was actually able to achieve that last November. So I was more than 1 year ahead of schedule. And it's a great feeling. And that started really because of my learning this thing called minimalism, and I also joined a group called the FIRE movement, Financial Independence, Retire Early movement, where people retire in their early 30s, 40s, and basically live a lifestyle of freedom. And that's been my goal. And then the freedom to be healthy, to be wealthy, happy, and freedom from being shackled in one spot, especially with my dialysis. So that's been my goal. So look, these are all the earthly belongings I have, and I'm happy with that. You know, I'm totally debt free. Sold my house, no more mortgage, no more car bill. This car, which is a Honda Civic, I bought back in actually on July 4th of 2021. I committed myself to paying it off early. I actually paid this off, this car off, in only 13 months. It was initially it sold for, including interest and all that. It sold for $32,500, but you know, I got it so that I saved at least $5,000 in interest and fees, because I paid it off, like, you know, the minimum payments I made with first 3-4 months was $500. After that, I was paying it off like $1,500 and all. And then, you know, when this first anniversary, July 4th, came, there was only like $7,000 left from the balance of this car. So I paid it off. Oh, it was such a great feeling. Okay. And I paid off my credit cards and all that, so that by November 21st, actually November 22nd, 2022, 11/22/22, I was debt-free, totally debt-free. So my goal of traveling back to the Philippines and having vacation for 2 months was fulfilled. So now I'm moving on to my next part of my journey, and that's the journey of a full freedom life, where I'm learning how to live simply, healthy, wealthy, and happy every single day. Okay, so now I finished my assignment as a traveling physical therapist in Fresno, California, on December 31st, 2022. So now I'm I was off to the Philippines for 2 months. I left January 9th, 2023. I came back March 9th, exactly 2 months, 2023. And then I looked for another travel assignment, and I'm going to be assigned to Ashland, Medford, Oregon, which is about 7.5 hours from Fresno. So I just left Fresno at about 8 a.m. this morning. I'm off to Ashland and Medford, Oregon. I should be arriving there in about, I'd say, 5-6 more hours. So I'm gonna take you with me in my journey. It's like for the next hour, you'll be seeing what I'm seeing as I travel to the as I travel to these places, from, like, right now I'm in Turlock, California area. I just passed Merced about an hour ago. I'm off to Modesto, Stockton, California. I'm going north, and then Sacramento in about an hour and a half from now. And then I'll probably have lunch there, and then take off to Ashland, Oregon, so that by 5 p.m., if not sooner, I'll be there. Okay, so I'm gonna take you with me in my journey to my next assignment. So right now, you're seeing I'm at a rest area here in Turlock, California. So I'm gonna have you witness my travel for the next half hour or so, and I'm gonna take more videos as we journey further north towards Ashland, Oregon. I'll be staying in Medford tonight, but for now, I know you can see all that. Let me just make sure that you can see me. So it's gonna be an exciting ride. It's been raining pretty much all morning. I woke up very early this morning, about 4 a.m. Packed my car with all my belongings. Had a little bit of breakfast in Merced, and now I'm off to.
In 800 feet, merge onto California 99 North.
I'm off to, well, first I'm gonna be going to Modesto, California. So I'm just entering
Continue on California 99 North for 87 miles.
as you heard it, Highway 99. So back in the spring of 2021, 2 years ago, around this time, March of 2021, I decided to start or resume my traveling physical therapist career, as I've stayed in the state of Texas, which is my home state, for the last 21 years, where I did home health physical therapy, I did some outpatient therapy, and I did some long-term acute care and inpatient rehab facility. I've been a physical therapist now for 36 years. On March 27th, 2023, and I graduated from the University of Santo Tomas in Manila, Philippines on my birthday, my 20th birthday, March 27, 1987, long time ago. It'll be 36 years ago since on March 27, 2023, which is, today is March 22nd, so that means like in 5 days. I started in the state of Texas back on 8/8/88. So I left the Philippines on August 8th, 1988, with only $800 to my name. And it was a tough time. It was the first time I've been away from family. In the Philippines, I was used to having maids and cooks, and growing up in Leyte as well as Manila, we had helpers. So I didn't. My job was just to stay in school, be number one in my class, both in high school and college. That was my father's goal for me. He had high standards. So I maintained that standard. For him, there was no place for second. So it was kind of tough, but in a way, it was good for me because I really tried to excel in everything I did in school, and in grade school, high school, and college, as well as after college. So I was 21 years old, arriving in Houston, Texas. I was picked up by my driver, Jose. He's Mexican American, who took me to a burger place, and he asked me at the time what I wanted to eat, and I said, I don't know, what's good here? And he said, chicken fried steak. So I loved chicken fried steak, and then I was assigned to a little nursing home in Wharton, Texas, in Baytown, Texas, and then I was taken to the Rio Grande Valley, which is the Rio Grande Valley Hospital, I believe. And my boss was, I remember his name, Harvey Aikman. He was like a runner. He was tall, slim, and very fit. And I remember I was working with 2 or 3 couples who were Dutch physical therapists, and they were slim, good looking, blonde, blue eyes, and really fit. So during lunch, Harvey, our boss, took us to Chili's, I believe, and I ordered, chicken fried steak, and everybody else was ordering salad, so their orders came fast. And then what happened was I was waiting for my order, and I was getting uncomfortable, so I said, oh, I think they're still catching the chicken. And then my boss Harvey kind of whispered to my ear, called me to come get closer and said, did you know that chicken fried steak is actually steak cooked like chicken? Well, I didn't know. So I said, oh, thank you. You just made me 1% wiser. So that's been my standard answer back then. This was 35 years ago, back in '88. Every time I learned something, instead of acting dumb, I acted grateful, because I would tell them, oh, thank you for making me 1% wiser today. They enjoy
You're still
that.
on the best route. You will now arrive at 12:56 p.m.
So right now, we're on California Highway 99, going towards Modesto, California. Now, going back to my story, so I was a traveling physical therapist way back then, from 88 to 94, before I opened my own clinic as a partner with a businessman from Houston. And then the following year, home health physical therapy came in vogue. And of my 36 years as a physical therapist, about 25 plus years have been devoted to home health, because I really like home health, especially when I got divorced, when I was a single father, because it was very flexible. I would pick up my kids, Anton and Simone back then. They were 4 and 8. Anton was 4, Simone was 8, so I'd pick them up from school, and then we were like half and half custody, so with my ex-wife. So I was a good, and the money was good. Not only was I helping people in their own environment, in their homes, instead of a mock-up facility like an outpatient or hospital. It's their comfort zone, and that's why people love, or patients love, especially the elderly, to be a home health patient, because we cater to their schedule, and we as therapists, I as therapist, would actually give them what they need in the situation that they are. Most of them had, heart surgery, hip surgery, knee surgery, or they are debilitated because of pneumonia, or they had a fall, broke their hips, and then get them to be rehabilitated and walk again. So it was a very fulfilling job in more ways than one. Not only was it financially rewarding, it's also psychologically and emotionally rewarding, because you get to see patients progress, in front of your very eyes. Now, the most recent facility I was in Fresno, is an inpatient rehab facility at San Joaquin Valley Rehab Hospital. Now, this is more of a hospital setting, but it's a team approach where not only the doctor, the nurses, the social worker, case manager, physical therapist, occupational therapist, as well as the nurses aide, we all work together for the betterment of the patients. And most patients stay there for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they get to go back home because they're functional enough to be back in their own home environment. Now, throughout my 36 years as a physical therapist, I noticed though that, especially in America, because basically 35 of my 36 years as a physical therapist, my experience has been in the U.S. I've lived more in the U.S. than I have lived in my own country, the Philippines. I left the Philippines when I was 21, so I've been in America for 35 years now. Lived and worked in different states. I noticed anywhere, because I traveled in the East Coast from 1988 to 1994, and then I resumed my traveling physical therapist career 2 years ago in July of 2021, and I noticed Americans, especially the elderly, are prone to chronic disease like osteoarthritis, diabetes, heart disease, or coronary artery disease, debility or deconditioning. primarily because they don't really move much, especially when they get old, and they just stay in their home or their apartment or their what do you call this, assisted living facility, and so they're mostly unhealthy, primarily because of lack of activity, poor diet, impaired mental status, usually a lot of depression. They've taken a lot of medications, and sometimes those medications even contradict each other or are contraindicated against each other. And there's really no holistic way of treating the patient as a whole person. And that's why I started this Full Freedom Life channel, because of my personal experience in taking care of myself, despite the chronic kidney disease I had, the autoimmune disease I had to battle throughout my life, as well as my experiences with at least tens of thousands of patients in my 36 years career as a physical therapist. So I have a very unique perspective, not just from the clinician healthcare professional standpoint, but also from the patient standpoint, because I was both a healthcare professional taking care of patients, and I was also a patient, for many years, especially during dialysis for 3.5 years, and then since I've been transplanted my kidney. So that's the reason for me starting the Full Freedom Life channel, is to show, educate, and inspire people to live healthy, wealthy, and happy every single day. And as I journey to my next assignment as a physical therapist, I want to share with you what I'm seeing throughout this short journey in a scheme of my life's journey. Okay, I'm hoping that I will be writing a book in the next year or two. I already have a working title. It's patterned after the best-selling book that I've always depended upon to make my life more effective, more happy, and more fulfilled. And that's the book written by Stephen Covey more than 30 years ago, called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's probably one of the, I've read about at least 500 or more books, mostly in personal development, in health, psychology, as well as business, because I see myself as a businessman, a healthcare professional, as well as an entrepreneur, okay, especially a social entrepreneur. So this book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, really introduced me to the concept of mission-based goal setting and life planning. Okay, and I highly recommend that you read it if you're watching this video. Of the hundreds and hundreds of books I've read, this book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, belongs to my top 3 books that I've read, reread, as well as listened to. Because lately, in the past decade, I've been more into audiobooks. That's why I could finish a book, within 2 to 3 days, especially as a home health physical therapist, because traveling to and from the patient's home, and then from the patient's home to my home, I spent a lot of time in the car. So I would finish a book, in about 2 or 3 days. I've already written 2 best-selling books. So I'm hoping that my next book, which is initially titled The 7 Habits of Healthy, Wealthy, Happy Humans. I love acronyms, alliteration, by the way. So, this is the working title. And this is not an autobiographical book, but it's a book that I've been researching about. But again, I've been busy as a travel physical therapist and then traveling pretty much back and forth to the Philippines and this country because of my mom, who unfortunately passed away in September of 2022. Eventually I'll have that book, but for now I wanted to document and chronicle my quest. It'll be a never-ending quest of living my full freedom life. That's the title of this channel, Full Freedom Life channel, to live healthy, wealthy, happy every single day. At this point, I'm going to rest my voice as I tour you with me on a visual tour along Highway 99 from Turlock, California to Modesto, California, and perhaps Stockton, California, on my way to my next travel PT assignment, Ashland, Oregon. I've had this video for 47 minutes now, and I'm probably going to continue recording this
There's
for
a 10-minute slowdown caused by crashes in 1.5 miles. You are still on the best route.
for another maybe 13-14 minutes. And now the traffic has slowed down. I'm getting some cramps in my left hand, so I'm going to drink some more water. I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but this is actually hot tea. Today I ordered honey mint green tea, and I mixed it with some goji berries right here. I was fortunate to have my my roommate or my landlord to be a health freak also. He's a hiker like me. I stayed in this place. I rented it since August of 2022, so I was there for about 7-8 months, two months of which I was in the Philippines. I couldn't find another travel contract in Fresno, California, so I opted to be in Oregon. So back in 1988 to 94, when I was a traveling physical therapist, I did it in the East Coast. I used to have like 9 licenses in the East Coast. I traveled from Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. I went to Pennsylvania even, which at that time it was the best state to be in, because I loved, I was in my mid to late 20s back then, maybe 25, 26, 27. I remember it was in 1991, 92. I stayed there for almost a year, Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And boy, I've never seen such an eclectic place as Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or Monroeville was actually a what do you call this? A suburb. I mean, there was some nice views there. I was there mostly in the summer and then part of the winter the following year. So I was there in 91 and left in 92. And man, the women are just beautiful. I remember I was dating this beautiful occupational therapist named Dolores Lesutis. You know, I thought about her from time to time, but I've never, I haven't seen her online at all. You know, I searched her on Facebook, never seen her. Hopefully, if she watches this video, say hi, Dolores. Contact me. Full Freedom Life YouTube channel. She was Lithuanian, blonde, blue eyes, really peppy, very upbeat. And I remember, you know, when we started dating, she offered to pick me up from my apartment, and she was so proud of her. I forgot what car it was, but it was a brand new car that she bought, and she was very proud of it. So she wanted to show it. So we went there, and then she just picked me up, and then dropped me off. That was something unusual for me because, you know, coming from the Philippines, very conservative. It's the men who pick up the women. I mean, you know, from their house, and then you go to the movies or I don't know, have lunch, dinner maybe, and then drop them off. Although back in 1987, 88, I didn't have a car, so we would use public transportation. But anyways, so I remember Pennsylvania so well. That was one of the states that I was licensed in. So I went from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, West Virginia, Virginia, which was my my home state at the time, because every other contract, which is like 3 months, I would stop by my older sister's house. That was my home base, and I would treat my nephews JB and Bobby, who are now who's now a doctor. JB's a doctor in the Navy, and then Bobby's now a lawyer in the Navy. So they're both Navy officers. One is a doctor, the other was a lawyer, and they have their own kids now. It's funny how you know, time flies so fast. Then so those were some of the states that I was licensed in. I was also licensed in Texas back then. So in 1998, I decided to move to Texas to be near my youngest sister Angelique, whom I was closest with during our elementary, high school, and college days in the Philippines, in Manila. And so I was there. They had 2 kids, Roger and Angelique. My sister's Angelique, my brother-in-law was Roger, and they had 2 kids, Rodan and Rhoda. And then, of course, I met my ex-wife now in San Antonio, and had 2 kids, beautiful kids. Simon and Anton, both very smart, extremely smart. So I was fortunate that, again, that's another goal I had. I visualized it 10 years before I met their mother. I wanted 2 kids, one beautiful and smart girl, and one handsome and smart boy. And God granted me those 2 wishes. You know, it's amazing how when you really focus on a goal and you really want to go for it, it will happen. Okay? I know there's this popular notion that, you know, you just think about it, attract it, law of attraction. But in my case, you know, I believe in the dual power of law of attraction and law of action. In fact, I would bet my dollar on the law of action more than the law of attraction. Yes, I meditate on my goals. Like every morning, I do my priming, where I meditate on, you know, what I'm grateful for, you know, and what are the 3 things I want to achieve, and what's the future that I want to envision. Okay, and but I have a plan. You know, it's not just a dream, a wish. It's a plan. Same thing with living the full freedom life. You know, you can't really wish for a healthy life unless you can overcome the habits of poor health, like smoking, drinking too much, and laziness, not being active, and supplant these bad habits with good habits. You know, instead of smoking, you walk and do your breathing. I've learned a lot about the power of breathing in reducing your stress, in increasing your lung capacity, improving your lymph system flow, and many other benefits to breathing. Okay, then you know, the power of good nutrition, and then the magic of a restful sleep at night. That's very, very vital. In fact, I was just listening to the audiobook about, you know, smart eating, smart sleeping. You know, having a good night's sleep is vital to your energy, to your productivity, and to vitality. Okay. For some reason, sleep has been denigrated to like an optional thing in the U.S. I guess because of the 24/7 non-stop lifestyle that, you know, especially with the advent of social media, where, you know, there's really no boundary between reality in the social media life or online life. You know, I think there's got to be a separation of those two. Now, I myself struggle with it sometimes because I'm not only an early morning person. I also function high late in the evening. Okay. However, though, I schedule my day so that I can be at my most optimum physical, mental, emotional, and of course financial state. Because it's about managing your state, the state of your mind. You know, if you don't have enough sleep, if you don't eat the right food at the right time, if you don't meditate or pray, you know, something's got to give. And it's been a habit of mine for decades now where every morning I wake up at 5 a.m. most of the time, whether it's weekend or weekday. I wake up at the same time. Then I go on my priming. I learned this from Tony Robbins, where you prime yourself for the day. And then I do my abdominal exercise, and then which is more isometric, isotonic, and calisthenic exercise. And then I do my weights. I usually divide my body into 7 parts. So I work out every day for 7 days a week. Now I don't do all muscle groups in one day. I just do, like on Sundays, I work on my abs. On Mondays, I work on my biceps and triceps, arms. On Tuesday, I work on my shoulders. You know, on Wednesday, I work on my chest. Like this morning, today's Wednesday, working on my chest muscles. Then Thursday, I work on my upper back. And then Friday, I work on my lower back. Saturday, I work on my legs. So at least you work on one muscle group per week. So there's enough time for your muscles to recover, because that's when growth happens. That's when weight loss happens. Oh, speaking about weight loss, I did this. You know, I don't know how I did it, but I wrote it down on how I did it. I actually did it twice. In my desire to lose a lot of weight, because I was very motivated, I had a strong reason to do it. I lost 29 pounds in 33 days, twice. I wrote a book about it, which is called Fat to Fit Fast. How to lose 15 pounds in 15 days and keep the weight off for life. And I've done that ever since I lost the weight in 2010, and then in 2013 I did it again. So I went down from 205 pounds to 100, as low as 126, but my ideal weight is 141 to 145 pounds, which is about 66 to 67 kilos. And I've maintained that for the last 13 years, even though I had at one point diabetes, even though I had kidney failure. You know, I maintained that weight range. Sometimes I go up by 5 pounds, or I go maybe 10 pounds, but I don't let it stay there. I do. That's why I'm doing this habit of what I call the full freedom life habits, because I believe that your daily habits, your daily decisions, your daily disciplines determine your destiny. So what we do, what we decide, on a daily basis determine who we become and who we are. Okay? And it's a never-ending process. Okay? You know, you just can't, you know, lose, say, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, and that's it. You quit dieting, or you quit good nutrition, you quit sleeping with the right amount of hours, you quit working out, you know. You can't do that. It's a continual process. It's a never-ending process. What Tony Robbins called KANAI, constant and never-ending improvement. All right, so I've hope I haven't bored you enough for this hour-long conversation. It's one way right now, but hopefully when you see this video, you can comment, ask questions, and I'll be producing more of this kind of content as I go through today, as I go, maybe shorter though, maybe 5-10 minutes, and as I go through this journey from where we were in Turlock, California, all the way to Ashland, Oregon. All right? So, with that, I want to sign off and say, have a great day, live healthy, wealthy, happy every single day. This is Joel, signing off for now. Bye-bye for now.